Hey guys, Ash Trace here, and in this video I'll talk about the Silver Bullet from 10 to 11. This is a little trade recap of the 29th of June, where I took this trade, and I'll basically just explain you how I took it and why I took it, and go through, my strategy. You can also see this was another winning trade for me. I won $220, and I'll also show the executions later in the video, so stick on and hope you enjoy this. Just to be aware, we also had news coming out at 10. I wanted to wait until 10 to take my first trade and see what the market did after the news came out. It was an orange folder, so it's like medium impact. So now I'll explain the trade and how I did it. First of all, you want to mark out the opening range gap, and how you do that is look where the market closed, 4:15, and then where it opens at 9:30 right here. And the gap between here is the opening range gap. The opening range gap is like a drawn liquidity often, so often it wants to fill this out, the gap, and then go the opposite direction. It's just like a little indicator I like to mark out before the session opens. You can also toggle on regular trading hours, and then it's easier to see. So the first thing I do is go to the daily time frame to look at the bias throughout the week. It's just go up. We filled out this fair value gap down here, and afterwards we went up, and now we target this fair value gap right here. And as you can see, we haven't touched it yet, so my bias is to go up and fill this out throughout the day. It doesn't have to be like at 9:30 or at 10, be later on in the day, but my bias is like we have to go up this fair value gap up here. Mainly I would like to look for longs, but you could also look for shorts in the Silver Bullet hour. So now that we have marked this out, let's look for fair value gaps and liquidity pools, so we can see where the drawn liquidity could be. Now we're on the hourly, and we can see that we have filled out a fair value gap here. We have respected it only with the wicks. We can mark this out. Didn't trade through with the candle, so we respected this level. We can also see that we have taken out all the sell side liquidity down here. So let's mark out some highs and some lows, which has a big liquidity pool, so we could go down there. And we can also see that we have some highs, so let's just mark them out. Let's zoom out, see if we have some highs. We have a lot of highs over here as well. My idea is that we'll go down and then we'll go up, take out the highs and fill out this daily fair value gap. And we also have to be aware that news starts at 10, so let's mark out at 10. We don't want to take a trade until we see how this does. Let's see what market does at 9:30. We went down, took out some sell side liquidity, and now we went up, had a market structure shift, filled out the opening range gap. And now we come to the Silver Bullet hour right here, and news comes out here. And as we can see, news, they were bullish. They were bad for currency, good for indices. We expect higher prices. This is good for our bias. So what I will ideally look to do here is go for longs if we see a good setup. And what I saw was that we had if you look at the higher time frames, a 5-minute fair value gap down here that we can target. And we also have a 15-minute fair value gap, if I remember correctly. Yeah, we also have that. So ideally, I would look to go down to this range and then buy, because we already had a market structure shift in the beginning here. You could also look for the shorts right here, because we all now fill this fair value gap out here. And if the market does a market structure shift, then you can also look for an entry on the fair value gap to the short side. But my bias was long, so I wanted to take this trade over a short. Let's see what it has. Now we filled out this fair value gap I marked out, and we had a huge displacement right here. So ideally you could also look for shorts right here, but I would rather look for longs right here because of my daily bias and how the news they came out. So what I did is do a 5 pip stop loss and then target this high. 2.6 risk to reward ratio trade. So let's see if we get filled in, and we did. It filled exactly to the tick. And now we see a market structure shift again. So you could also enter right here from this fair value gap if that's what you want to do, because we take out this swing high right here. But I'm already filled, so I'm just looking to take partials along the way. And my first place to take partials was at 6 pips, so I took my first partial right here, a small portion of my position off right here, because I thought we would go higher because of my daily bias. And my second target was up at the breaker block right here. And we hit that, and we filled this fair value gap again. And now I was like, do I take off the last portion of my position, because we've seen this huge market structure shift right here, and we also filled this fair value gap again. We didn't take out this high, and if we saw a market structure shift again, take out these lows, then my bias would be short again. This was a bit of a tricky day. You could both go long and short, so let's see what market did. Now we took out the lows over here, had a market structure shift, and now ideally I would just take off my trade because my bias has changed and now we are going short in my opinion. But we also had this fair value gap we could fill right here. I would have been stopped out because I normally move my stop loss to break even when I take my first partial. So this was how I traded this day. I hope you learned something from it. And just to show my executions, you can see them right here. I started buying here in the 5-minute fair value gap, 6 contracts, and I sold my first one here, my second one here, and then afterwards I bought another one here at the end of this fair value gap because I thought it would go higher. We also did, and I actually wanted to take partial here but we never broke this level. So yeah, I didn't take anything off here. And because I saw we went down again, I thought, yeah, I could just take out all my contracts, and that's what I did. I actually misclicked right here and bought another contract. Just a mistake, but yeah, I sold off all of my contracts on this candle right here because my bias was now that we would go lower, and we also did. So yeah, just was my executions, and yeah, another good trade. I hope you liked this video and learned something from it. It was Ash Trades here, and I'm out.